Have you ever been sitting there trying to make your new character and you have no idea how to maximize the efficiency of your power and gold count at level 1? Me neither! Let's find out the best starting equipment in D&D. Today we're going to be penny-pinching, power-hungry adventurers who seek to profit from this capitalist agenda. In other words, stonks. When making your character, you get to pick a background and a class, right? Your background gives you stuff, and your class gives you stuff. You also have the option of taking gold instead of stuff from your class, where you roll some d4s based on your class and can use that gold however you want. So what is the best way about maximizing your wealth and getting the best situation possible? A paid sponsorship in the middle of the video! This video was sponsored by World Anvil, the in-browser campaign prepping map making ultimate DM tool. You can create maps for your players to interact with and explore. There's also countless tools for filling in all the lore you've written for your D&D campaigns. It's just like having a personal wiki page for your game. Get started today with my code XP to level 3 for 20% off your subscription. There's a link down below. Okay, what's actually the best starting equipment for D&D 5e? That is not easily answered. If we're gonna go by pure power or damage output, probably a great sword and a breastplate, but that's not too great for a wizard now, is it? Now, a lot of these items are situationally really good, like a hunting trap or medicine kit or lantern. These are all great on some characters and in some campaigns, but they're just good ideas. What is factually and statistically the best way to get the greatest starting equipment at level 1? Well, you would want to get the most powerful items. So what's the most powerful items? Obviously, the most expensive items. Gold cost isn't in any way an accurate way to measure balance and power. D&D being a role-playing game and all, a spyglass being the most valuable thing in the player's handbook should give you an idea that there's more thought put into the realistic construction cost and the supply and demand over how powerful the item is, which obviously makes a lot of sense. Armor is pretty well balanced when it comes to gold costs though, and so are weapons. They're kind of just put into the categories of, hey, is this hard to make? Yes. Is this also powerful? Yes. Then it is expensive. So there's not a real good way to measure the power difference between a lantern and ball bearings, so we're going to have to settle with our only way of measurement. Weight. No, that's dumb. We're gonna measure it by gold pieces. Not gonna measure the items at gold pieces, but we're gonna measure you and your gold pieces. The more gold pieces you have, the more items you can buy, and therefore, the better starting equipment you would have at level 1. This makes sense, right? So the number one easiest way to be rich in D&D is to pick Bard, Cleric, Fighter, Paladin, Ranger, or Artificer, and roll maximum on your gold dice. There, woohoo, done, video over. Alright, we're gonna have to put this into statistics. Bard, Cleric, Fighter, Paladin, Ranger, Artificer all start with a possible 5d4 times 10 gold pieces. Artificer never says that anywhere, but if you go into D&D Beyond and if you make your character and if you choose gold, it gives you 5d4, and I think that's pretty accurate for the class. These classes are by far the richest when it comes to randomly rolling. However, how does that compare to their equipment? Is their starting equipment the same gold cost if you picked, let's say, the most expensive stuff? To figure this out, I went through all the classes and added up the maximum amount of gold you could get from your starting equipment and compared it to the average rolls for your gold. Bards, sorcerers, and artificers are better off taking their rolls as their average rolled gold is more than their most expensive equipment. You could save a lot of money unless you rolled really low. Everybody else is pretty balanced. You could take either or and it wouldn't make too much of a difference. Mostly the equipment is going to be a bit more expensive in that regard, so it's almost always better to just take your starting equipment instead of randomly rolling gold. But holy crap, fighters and paladins should definitely take their starting equipment. The ability to pick any two martial weapons is so much better than taking your starting gold. Plus, you can get some pretty sweet armor without having to pay too much for it. Now, backgrounds also give you stuff as well, including gold. I went through and added all of those up together, and the richest backgrounds include Guild Artisan and Folk Hero, both of them clocking in at 67 gold and 64 gold. Charlatan close behind with 60 gold. So, by my count, if you wanted to be as rich as possible and have the best and most expensive gear you wanted at level 1, you're best suited with a Guild Artisan Fighter. You'll be worth around 280 gold pieces. You could also be a Folk Hero Fighter, a Guild Artisan Paladin, or even a Charlatan Paladin would get you pretty rich at 267 gold. Now, this obviously makes sense. Fighters and Guild Artisans are defined by their tools and equipment. Of course, they're going to have the most stuff. Good job, D&D 5e. It makes a lot of sense. So what if you wanted to be super poor while trying to be as rich as possible? Look no further than to the Monk Hermit with a whopping 33 gold pieces. That or a monk soldier who gets the exact same amount because apparently being a soldier doesn't pay very well. Why is all of this weirdly accurate? So there you have it. It may not be the best equipment, but you'd be getting the most equipment for doing absolutely nothing. It's what we believe over here on XP to Level 3, quantity over quality. Now you can go off and start your D&D games with nearly 100 gold pieces ahead of everyone else, which really doesn't matter at all unless you're playing Capitalism Simulator and you sold all of this stuff. If anything, this is a guide to being encumbered. Yeah, these are just dumb fun facts, and when you make your character, you should just pick what fits them the best. If anything, what I learned from all of this is that the starting equipment is very well balanced and makes so much sense in the context of the game. You can make it easy and pick what your class gives you, but you can never go wrong with getting your own gold and some ball bearings, or a spyglass if you really want that. So, what's the lesson in this completely useless video? Be you, money doesn't matter, and fighters got mad dough.